When the Mongol ranks looked upon their leader's latest command, the most hardened warriors felt a chill they couldn't explain. You are a commander in Genghis Khan's horde. You have seen mountains of corpses and watched empires turn to ash. Your soul, you believe, is armored against any horror. But on a dusty plain in 1221, you witness a new order given. It is not the violence that freezes your blood, it's the terrifying, meticulous system behind it. What the great Khan did to the conquered wasn't mere savagery. It was something far more calculated. It was industrialized. It was, in its own brutal logic, lawful. And to understand why this machine of empire was built, you must first meet the boy who knew powerlessness intimately. His name was Temujin. In the 1170s, a teenager shivers, his neck locked in a heavy wooden collar meant for livestock. This is the Kangoo, a portable prison. He is property, dragged between tents as a trophy. Most in his shackles would dream of vengeance. But Temujin observes. He learns his captors' rhythms, their moments of carelessness. He doesn't just plan an escape, he engineers it, turning a sliver of a guard's pity into his key. His first lesson, human nature is a lever, and leverage is power. His education in vulnerability started even earlier. At 9, his father was poisoned. His clan, facing a harsh winter, made a cold calculation. They abandoned Temujin, his mother, and his siblings on the open steppe to die. Imagine watching your entire world right away. His mother, Holun, kept them alive by eating roots and field mice. In that struggle, Temujin learned a darker truth. All oaths and blood ties shatter against the need to survive. The only real thing is power. Not the power of tradition, but the kind that makes betrayal unthinkable. These twin ordeals, abandonment and enslavement, forged a revolutionary mind. Temujin didn't just want to rule tribes. He wanted to rebuild the very idea of society. He envisioned a nation where loyalty was not to your birth clan, but to the law and to the Khan. A place where rank was earned, not inherited. A meritocracy enforced by absolute, terrifying discipline. But every new society must define its outsiders. And the boy who wore the slave's collar was about to draw that line with ruthless precision. The year is 1206. After unifying the steppes, Temujin is proclaimed Genghis Khan, the universal ruler. His first act is not conquest, but law. He proclaims the Yassa, a new legal code. To historians, parts seem astonishingly ahead of their time. It forbids the kidnapping of women. It grants rights to women and declares all children legitimate, even those born to enslaved mothers. It mandates religious tolerance. It creates a military meritocracy. And crucially, it makes the enslavement of any Mongol a crime, punishable by death. You might think the former captive built a just world from his pain. You would be wrong. Because buried within this progressive vision was a lethal contradiction. The same law that protected Mongols explicitly permitted the enslavement of all others. The mandate for religious freedom came with a demand for tribute, which could be paid in human lives. The Yassa did not abolish slavery. It perfected and weaponized it, creating a legal bubble of rights for one group, and a vacuum of humanity for everyone beyond it. It also smashed the old tribal bonds. Genghis organized everyone into decimal units: 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000. Your commander was no longer your uncle. Your loyalty was to your unit and the Khan. If one man fled, his entire unit could be executed. This was collective responsibility engineered into a weapon. It replaced clan loyalty with systemic fear. It was a machine, and it was ready to be fed. The first major test of this machine was a city of legendary wealth, Bukhara. In 1220, the Mongol army surrounded it. The governor refused surrender, trusting his mighty walls. The Mongols diverted a river, crumbled the defenses, and broke in. Genghis Khan rode into the Grand Mosque, and addressed the terrified elite. "I am the scourge of God," he declared. "If you were without great sin, God would not have sent a punishment like me." It was psychological annihilation. But what happened next was what truly unnerved his veteran commanders. There was no chaotic massacre. Instead, a cold, systematic sorting began. The entire population was processed like raw material. First, the skilled, weavers, metalworkers, scribes, engineers. Their names were recorded. They would be relocated to the Mongol capital to work for the state. Second, able-bodied men. They were forced into labor battalions, used as human shields in the next siege. Third, women and children. Many were distributed as property or sent to markets. Some children were assimilated into Mongol households. Fourth, the old, sick, and useless. They vanished from history. Watching this, a Mongol officer later wrote, "It felt less like war and more like harvesting." Human beings were being inventoried as assets. The progressive Yassa did not apply here. These people were not legal persons. They were resources. He built a golden age for his people on a foundation of organized despair. The system was diabolically efficient. It created a hierarchy among the enslaved. The skilled artisan lived in relative security. The human shield died in months. This hierarchy made the enslaved police themselves, desperate not to fall lower. The economic boom for the Mongols was staggering. Slave-built Karakoram became a global metropolis. And the stories of this sorting process became a weapon of fear itself, making future cities surrender without a fight. After Genghis's death, his successors kept the system. It lasted for centuries. This leaves us with a difficult historical figure. For Mongols, he was a unifying hero who brought law and prosperity. For much of Eurasia, he was an apocalyptic force, responsible for deaths in the tens of millions. Both views are true. The most dangerous systems dress cruelty in the language of law and order. So what is the real lesson here? It's not about ancient barbarity. It's about a recurring pattern, drawing a circle of protection around us, while rationalizing the exploitation of them. How many modern systems operate on a similar, invisible logic? Where do we see efficiency used to justify inhumanity? The boy who was a slave became an emperor by building the most effective human engine of his age. His story warns us that the greatest atrocities are not born from chaos, but from cold, meticulous design. If you value these deep dives into the mechanics of power, into history without sanitization, then do something for the channel now. Give this video a like. It truly helps us grow. And for more journeys into the past's darkest lessons, subscribe to Winds of Thought. We'll see you in the next video.